about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And that was a great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. EZ BlueZ. EZ BlueZ, you're always better at introductions more than me. Who do we have with us again on the broadcast?
I want to jump in the Wayback Machine because I want you to truly understand how far back this all goes. The first time that I stepped into Stella Blues was, I believe, 2012 or 2013. And, meeting Mark Lyon, first thing I asked is, what kind of beer are you drinking? And he said a Sea Hag. And from that point on, there was a love story that seemed to happen right from that go. And there's many places that make beer here in New England, but there are just some places that make the moments for that beer to happen. And you can tell right now, what's that? It feels like there's a change. There's a change in the air that's coming down right now. And for that, I want to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2 because we don't need any accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the incredible Jamal Robinson is in the building today. Welcome.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you. That's quite the intro.
Oh, no problem. That's what we're here for. But it's something that is severely true to the point where anytime I check out a new bar in New England, that's something that I actually check to gauge. Do they have Sea Hag? Is it on tap or is it in a can? And what is it like to be with New England Brewing Company and have a brand like that?
Man, it's as far as working for a brewery, it's one of those dream come true kind of things. It's a great brand built by great people. We got an amazing team, not just hardworking people who really take the brand personally, but people who are just good people. You know what I mean? And you can't build great companies without great people. And when it comes to a brewery, you can't build a great brewery without great beer. And having a brew team and a production team and a sales team and a marketing squad and everybody that's just like bought in and passionate, but also takes the quality of what they do in every department as seriously as the brewers take the quality of our liquid. It's a dream come true, man. It's pretty dope.
Oh, that's awesome.
A lot of great.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, boss.
No. Go right ahead. I'll go after.
I was going to say that's awesome that it is so much, a team sport. There's so many things that, you can break down and you can easily say, this is what I've done. This is who I am. And you already spin it back to that team, which is really why we want to talk today. We got the Change in the Air Festival coming up, and it is really about the team and about making the team better moving forward. And that team is really more of the human race team than anything else. What was the full initial point behind making the Change in the Air Festival, and what is the Change in the Air Festival? Two-part question.
Yeah, so Change in the Air Festival is a beer festival in its roots. We've evolved it to be, it's really more than just a beer festival. It's a culture festival. It's food, it's music, it's art, it's beer. We've evolved it to be wine and spirits now, and it's a celebration of Black and brown culture mixed in with craft beer. And the reason that we started this was back in 2020, New England Brewing and my team, we decided to start an African-American Brewer Scholarship, Sacred Heart University. And we did two things. We started an endowed scholarship and an annual scholarship. So the annual scholarship is something that we put a 5-year commitment to fund every year. It's a $15,000 program. It's an 11-month long brewing science program, teaches you everything from brewing beer to starting and opening a brewery and working in different departments. After you go through the program, you actually get an internship at one of the breweries in Connecticut. Our brewery, our scholarship specifically comes with an internship at New England Brewing Company. But then we also started this endowed scholarship, one that was going to live beyond our brand and live in perpetuity, which is just a much bigger lift. It's about, we set a goal of raising $250,000. And that would allow, basically what happens is that money goes into an investment account. Right. The interest from that account spins off and what pays for the scholarship. So for a $15,000 program, we've got to raise about $250,000 in order to have enough interest in there to spend and pay for the program. So we said, man, if this is going to be this is a big lift, and I wanted this to be more than just a New England brewing lift. If you're black and brown and getting into craft beer, it needs to be something that an industry is a part of, and not just one brewery that's championing. And the need for diversity is huge when it comes to craft beer, and we've evolved the festival to include other beverages, because it really isn't just beer, it's beverage in general. Craft beer represents $83 billion in terms of an American economic impact. Black folks represent less than 1% of that. People of color represent less than 5% of that in terms of ownership and employment. So it was about creating diversity in a huge economic driver and cultural driver when we talk about America as a whole. So the festival was supposed to be, and is built to be, a place where everyone, but specifically built for Black and brown community and culture, to engage with craft beer, and in a setting that is familiar and safe and comfortable to us, that is built around our music and our vibe and our people and our culture, and our art and our businesses, and then bringing craft beer into that space instead of, the traditional beer fest is a very predominantly white space. And, if you're asking Black and brown folks to come to this very white space and try this thing that you don't know much about, is a big lift. And in truth, I think we do that every day in all parts of society. When we go to a restaurant, or we go to a venue, or we go somewhere that is not instinctively built around us. So that's where the festival is really birthed from, and it's our biggest fundraiser of the year for the scholarship. But more than just a fundraiser, it's about creating space, right? It's about creating a new space. It's about social equity. It's about cultural equity, and it's lumping all those things into a day and an event that just is a good time for everyone, regardless of who you are.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I really do. Yeah, brother. How did it feel cutting the ribbon, having your own space to provide for people who look just like you? How did it feel, man? It made you feel so good. How accomplished were you that day? Mayor Elliker was there. Your wife was there. Everybody was there supporting you, man. I know you felt good that day.
Yeah, man, it was surreal. It's one thing, we built this festival, and then we always said, like, if we're gonna do this and really make impact in this industry and in this community, it needs to be more than one day a year. So we either need to really scale this festival tremendously, or we need to be throwing this festival a bunch of times. And CITA Park was the opportunity for us to create cultural equity right in downtown New Haven.
Yep.
In a way that wouldn't be done had someone else gotten their hands on that space and gotten that opportunity. So it was not just surreal and an accomplishment, but for the whole team, for the community, for the culture. We've had probably around almost 5,000 people through the space since we've been open.
Wow.
And the vast majority of the demographic is Black and brown. And to see people in a space, whether it's a cigar and bourbon event, or a beer event, or an Amapiano party, it's like you just having people in a space that are like doing great things, having a great time, and affecting community and culture in a way that hadn't happened in that particular location. That was an abandoned lot for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Just a gravel chain link lot, So we kind of took nothing and made it into something. And we've had a great lineup of partners executing events at the park, on top of our own events, on top of just community partners and activation, all leading up to now, CITA Fest. Instead of happening at Bears this year, we're doing it at CITA Park, downtown New Haven. We're doing it in Pickett Plaza. We're shutting down Orange Street and the park itself, and creating a big, block party type of energy, and just scaling up the festival and making it even bigger than it was before, while raising good funds and creating community impact, man. It's a dream come true. I know I keep saying that, but man, it's crazy.
No, keep saying it. You worked hard for that. You earned that. You definitely did. Appreciate you, man. What breweries and what can we expect new happening this year at the festival?
Yeah, new at the festival this year, we'll have 2 stages. We'll have a smaller DJ stage over on Pickett Plaza side. We'll have the main stage inside the park. We will have more food vendors. We will have more beverage vendors as a whole. So we cut back on a few of the non-beverage vendors. We added a few more live muralists. But this year we've got some black and brown owned bourbons and wines and spirits and canned cocktails on top of the 30 plus breweries that are going to be there.
Wow.
We've got some fun collaborations. Us, New England Brewing Company, we did a collaboration with both Bissell Brothers and Lawson's this year. Both those beers will be at the festival. Proceeds go towards CITA Park and the scholarship. So yeah, it's going to be a bigger thing. It's going to happen instead of noon to 5, it'll be 4 to 9. So we'll shift it kind of into the nighttime. You know, something about CITA Park underneath the lights at night just gives it a different energy. And we wanted people to be able to experience that during the festival. So yeah, those are some of the big ones.
It's going to be a great time. There's even times I went by the park and I couldn't even contain the volume of people just having a good time in there. It's been really nice and really great for the city just to see this going down. Easy. I know you had some questions brewing inside your system because I see the.
I got 1.5 million questions, but first and foremost, I want to give the flowers first and foremost because to accomplish that is absolutely incredible. And I know you say it's a dream come true, but it's also giving a platform for other people to have their dreams come true. And for that, we are truly thankful. So just take that moment and really but now that you are expanding and you are going through all of this stuff and you're obviously working with the city more and those different aspects of it, how has that journey been like? And what was it like to take that first step? Because we got a lot of people right now that are sitting at home that are so terrified to take that first step. What was it like for you to take that first step, and what is it like to continue that walk?
First and foremost, man, it's stressful.
Yeah,
I think.
I bet.
More than anything, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that deters people from either starting your own business or branching out on your own and doing your own thing. Is just that fear of will this be successful, right? Will it be profitable? Will enough people show up to make us be able to stay open? Will we have enough buy-in? Will we be able to pay the bills? Is this as expensive as it looks like it's going to be? And will it be a profitable business model on top of wanting to be a good thing and be a nonprofit project? But the truth is, we stood up a new business this year, and we did it in a pretty quick amount of time, and we did it on a very, very small budget. And like I said, that park, that lot was just gravel and chain link fence as far back about 20 years ago. But we broke ground on building out the space itself early April. We opened up for our soft opening on New Haven Night Market on May 17th. So, me and a handful of guys, my team, Gene Morton, who's our GM of the project, Daryl Wells, who's our food and beverage manager, Xavier Richardson, who handles our staffing and events, my wife and Maggie, who handle our marketing. We all got our hands dirty. Oren Ferris, one of our scholarship recipients. It was the 6 of us who basically built out that space, from laying all the AstroTurf and building out the shipping container bar and the stage. We built the stage, we hung the sunshades, we put the post in. Everything there was very DIY, from building the drink rails to the benches to everything.
Wow.
So it was a big lift physically to get it done in time, but it was the only way to get it done on budget. We ended the year last year, we had $30,000 in the account that normally we'd cut a check to the scholarship for. And we said, as a foundation, we voted to let me and the smaller team build out CITA Park and take that money and invest it in cultural equity long term, so that we can really build in the scholarship program and interest in the program and in beer in a way that is more community based and more long term, as opposed to this one day a year thing. So we walked in with $30,000 to make this thing happen. I spent a bunch of time leading up to the opening, fundraising for scholarship, fundraising just in sponsorships and donations, and trying to get enough to keep us going. So but we're basically running on very lean operating capital, and it's been stressful between payroll. We've got 9 employees. We've given a platform to dozens of DJs and live performers and musicians, on top of platforms for people that throw events that don't really have the space or the financing to be able to like book a venue like ours traditionally and throw an event there. So we've worked with dozens of different people to like execute events on a low budget, and we've just been it's been lean. It's been getting by from week to week, but on top of trying to do this project, still planning a festival, doing my full-time job, which is still director of sales and marketing at New England Brewing Company, while being a husband, a friend, and a homesteader, and all these things. It's a lot. It's been a lot. So it's one of those things where I couldn't. I know you reached out the last couple of days. I actually just took 3 days and I got off the grid. I went to the top of a mountain in Puerto Rico by myself for 3 days and just
by yourself.
Unplugged. Yeah, by myself. And just unplugged and recharged so I can come back and finish out the season. We still got another 6 weeks of programming on top of the festival, on top of going into the back half of the year for business planning for the brewery and the brand. So it was just one of those things. I think my advice to people would be when you to do the research, build the business plan, build the work, but then be nimble and willing to adapt. I think if I knew all the hurdles we were going to be up against before we opened it a year ago, if I'd known the hurdles, I might have been even more intimidated and been like, maybe we can't do this. Maybe this isn't smart. Maybe this won't work. But we got so far down the rabbit hole that the only option was to just find solutions and to keep moving forward. Right. And that's been all the best, because it's given me a lesson in endurance and leadership and just execution, just finding solutions to the problems. That's the only option. And little by little, day by day, that's exactly what's been happening. We've been finding solutions and making it. I really feel like the universe wants this project to happen and wants good things for our team. So one way or another, it just keeps working, man. And it's just being relentless and resilient and positive and open-minded. And I give a lot of props to my team too, because I'm not the guy that has all the answers, and collectively we've been finding answers.
Nice.
It takes the right team too. You got to have the right people around you. So
100%.
Definitely. So that's all I have to say about that, because this motivates me right now, because this is a man who walked up a mountain by himself in Puerto Rico. I didn't know Puerto Rico had mountains like that, bro. All I see is the beaches and
nah, I didn't touch a beach, bro.
You didn't touch a beach in Puerto Rico? No, not one.
No, he was there for introspection. He wasn't there for visual amazingness. He was there for introspection.
I mean, I get that. Trust me, the meditation had to be elite. That had to be high level. I can't even imagine how much you at peace you were. But that's
next
incredible.
Level. It was next level, bro. It was one of those things where, like, my heart was calling me, like, you got to do this. You got to get away. You got to escape and recharge. But I was physically like starting to feel like medical issues, just like my body starting to break down from not just the stress, but the burning the candle at both ends. It's just not sustainable. And to be what I need to be for my team and for my family and for my job, it's one of those things where if I'm not on my A game, then I can't expect everybody else to be that as well. So it was just like a necessary, 2-3 days situation. It was 3 days total. But it was the meditation, yoga, mindfulness, just recharge, breathing and escaping, so that I can come back ready to go to war, in the best kind of way.
And let's recharge on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. I apologize, my bearded brother.
That was beautiful.
Right ahead, easy.
That was beautiful. No, and for those that are just starting out and really in the aspects of it, you can easily do that same thing of going through Edgewood Park or going, taking the big walks up some of the mountains areas that we have here in Connecticut. In case you're looking at me like, I'm glad he could go to Puerto Rico, but I don't even got 2 nickels and a smile right now. So I ain't going to Puerto Rico, but there are places around here you can go to and you can meditate as well. So, there are ways to go about that. There are mountains in Connecticut. you know. So
Ain't no Puerto
just so
Rican
you know.
mountains in Connecticut. I'm a little.
But no, I get that, but you know, you know
Dude,
how it
yeah.
is, because there's always that one detractor that's sitting
Yeah.
at their keyboard right now. I mean, like, well, it's nasty. He could go to Puerto Rico, but I can't go to Puerto Rico, so I'm not going to.
It ain't about them, man.
Yeah,
It's
it ain't
about
about that.
Jamal. Let's go.
Exactly. So I just want to say that, and I think it's absolutely incredible because you've taken, like you said, a lot that was just gravel and nonsense, and you have now put it into this aspect where it is a thriving part of culture. We've been tossing around the term cultural equity pretty much the entire show. I want to dive a little bit more into that. For those who don't actually know what that is, for those who only hear that as a buzz term, or, you know, have been hearing it something lately, or what exactly is cultural equity and why is it so important? And I had to stop myself from saying a word.
Yeah.
Woo!
You know, listen, the reality is, especially like when you look at New Haven, and you look at most places in Connecticut in general, you know, there are not a lot of places in New Haven that are specifically built around Black and brown culture, right? That are built for us. If you walk into an Italian restaurant or an Irish bar or any establishment, you know what that place is built around. You know what to expect when you're going in, and not that it's not welcoming to, you know, other people, but you know exactly what you're going into and what you're expecting in that space. And there are not a lot of places, if you were Black and brown, that is like instinctively built for our culture, right? That are built with our culture in mind, the things that we like, and the essence is small mom and pop things, but nothing on the venue size, and nothing in like, you know, at a 5,000 square foot space like that, especially downtown New Haven. So that cultural equity is about providing opportunity, providing space, providing access, and access in a way that is accessible, right? Like, you know, a 5,000 square foot venue like ours, you know, is probably should be a $4,000, you know, rental fee to throw an event there, type of thing.
Easily.
And that's not accessible for our culture and community. So a big part of it was like finding ways to partner with people to make it affordable, something that we could actually, I mean, we still need to be profitable, and we still need to pay the bills, right? But doing it in a way that we're not, that this person isn't responsible. So it's coming in collaboratively and approaching said event together as a partnership, and figuring out how to make it work on both sides. But just the access to space, you know, it's and having it long term, and in a very, you know, a more white part of New Haven. It's downtown in the district around a lot of apartment buildings that are very expensive. And not that we don't want those people to also visit the space, but, you know, how do you make a space feel comfortable for a community that doesn't really have space, you know? And that's been the most intentional part of the project as a whole.
Well, it's also a beautiful reminder for those people that are in those higher priced, you know, apartments, that there are other people in New Haven, and it is their home as well. You know, that's one of the things that I love so much about New Haven, is how diverse we really are as a culture. And I hope we continue to be that diverse as a culture, you know, moving forward. So.
Absolutely. We've also been spending a lot of time like highlighting Black and brown beverages as well. We wanted to like create a platform where, like, all right, because we knew, I mean, the truth is, like, we knew opening a beer garden built around Black and brown culture, we couldn't rely on just beer to be what makes us sales, especially when we talk about, you know, the general Black and brown community is not like locked into craft beer in that kind of way. So they're not going to come in necessarily being like, all right, give me all your beers. But we have batch cocktails. We have 4 batch cocktails, 2 of which are made with Black-owned products. And we also highlight a variety of like canned beverages that are Black and brown owned, on top of the variety of beers that we have. So there's a mix for anybody to come in, and whether you're interested in a cocktail or a beer or a canned cocktail or a cider, there's a lot of options. And we're also using that opportunity to highlight the Black and brown options and giving people opportunity, and again, platform for those products as well.
Do you? This is a strange question. It's going to come out of left field for you, but do you work with Gorilla Lemonade?
Yeah, they're one of our best-selling
I
products.
just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure because that's definitely necessary right there. I could see
yeah,
that with a good bourbon or a nice tequila or something along those lines. You make a great cocktail with their type of branding. So I really. If you weren't, I was like, let me go make a phone call. Let's make this happen.
They've been a part of it since our grand opening.
That's
They're great
awesome.
dudes. I'm a big fan of what they're doing and their journey as a whole. They're going to also be a part of CITA Fest this year for the first time, so that's
Oh,
exciting too.
nice.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, is it just New Haven, or have you had discussions about other locations bringing CITA Park?
It's funny, man. We get that all the time.
Mhm.
A lot of people say when they come into the space, they're like, "Man, this doesn't feel like Connecticut. This doesn't feel like New Haven. This feels like Atlanta or something. This feels like Cali."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we take a lot of pride in that. Yes, I mean the long-term vision would be, I think this is a concept that needs to and can be in other places, but we are staying focused on making New Haven work really, really well. We learned a lot this year. And you talk about like everybody on our team also has full-time jobs elsewhere
Oh
or owns
yeah,
other
I
businesses,
bet.
so everybody's doing this in their part-time. And there's just there's a lot of things we didn't realize until you're in the space, until you're operating it and running it. I mean, even our sound equipment, we have a really robust sound setup that all has to go get packed back into the shipping container at night, along with the bar, along with anything else valuable. So just like the setup and breakdown every day is a pretty serious lift for our team to unload everything out of the container and set it all up, make the place look dope, and then cram it all back, and it all has to fit back in a specific way. It's very Tetris, otherwise things don't fit the way they're supposed to fit.
I like that.
So we've been so that's just the thing. We don't have running water out there right now. That was another hurdle. So we've been we've been on a scrappy system where we have the porta potties. They get cleaned out every day. They also refill it. We have a portable sink that gets refilled every day, and we've been borrowing ice from our friends Angel down at Magnagumi every day. He lets us use his ice machine to load up. It's just been like a community effort in doing it, but it's not. It's one of the things that we have to solve for next season. Our team has been resourceful this year, but we've got to make that a little bit easier for next year, and some improvements on things that a more robust food program and a better structure for food. And this year we were originally we're going to bring in food trucks and let them just pull into the park and park there. But the city wouldn't allow us to drive trucks into the park because there's no curb cut there technically.
Okay.
It's just the intersection there. So we had to do pop-up food vendors, which is a big lift for the food vendors to like have to bring in all their things and set up there. So we ended up taking some of our funds and building 2 like permanent gazebo structures there. And then our goal is to fundraise in the off season to put more of an outdoor kitchen scenario so food vendors can come in and really present in the space the way they would like to, with more infrastructure and more build to figure out a way for running water next year, stuff like that. There's a lot of little things that may not be the same kind of hurdles in other spaces around the place, but we want to set this thing up properly before we go try and stretch. Being a brand builder as long as I have, I've seen too many times of brands and people with great ideas expand beyond the full execution of their initial concept and start building in other places, and then all of it falls apart because it wasn't buttoned up from the jump. So we're just trying to not make those mistakes as well.
I lost my train of thought. Easy.
No,
I got 10 million.
Well, that's the thing is
I don't want to say the wrong thing because
I'm
he
thinking
just
of
broke
ways
it down
to fix
so
the running
beautifully.
water thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I usually see on the green they have like a water truck that's there sometimes when it's too hot. Maybe we can talk to them. Or I love how I become part of this when I'm not a part of it at all. I'm like, we can do this. It's like I'm the sports team. You guys are the sports team, and I'm the dude cheering at home, going, "We won this whole thing."
Yeah.
But no, there's got to be some type of opportunity, and I'm hoping that there's a listener right now that's at home, and they're like, "Well, I actually have a perfect idea on how to handle that water aspect, and you reach out and you talk to Jamal and you get this stuff squared away, because it is super, super important, and something that is really necessary. So yeah, look at it as, I'm calling it upon the community. The community, this event space has given so much to the community. Maybe it's a little bit time that the community give a little bit back and come up with some ideas on their own. But that's just me.
Yeah, but that would be great. I feel like it has been a bit of a community lift. We it takes a village, as cliche as that sounded. This certainly did.
And I love the whole Tetris concept too, man. Like how you just broke that down. That totally made sense for me. But it's always the little things that matter, especially like going into stuff in next year, because you gotta worry about the concern of having visitors over, and you gotta like hear them out, especially when it comes to food trucks, especially comes like to the breweries and stuff. This actually is a good transition for my next question. What makes you decide that this person is right for my festival? This person is right for CITA Park. This person fits the concept we are, because there's a lot of breweries in Connecticut and the New England area, but what fits your vision? How hard is that?
Yeah. As far as the breweries go, this is our 4th year doing change in the air things in general. So we first, especially when we opened up the park, the first beers that we made sure that we had inventory of were the brands that have been supporting us and were the reason we were able to come this far. When it comes to throw a festival costs about $20,000 to throw.
Wow, and I didn't know that.
Yeah. This year we're trying to do it as a little bit cheaper, because we've got other funds tied up in the operations of CITA Park in general. But yeah, it's somewhere between 15 and 20 G's depending on how we go. And without sponsorships, without support from breweries and vendors and stuff like that, it's just not possible. Especially not possible to be profitable and then have money left over to donate to the scholarship. And so the breweries that have been, the breweries like Athletic Brewing and New England Brewing and Allagash have all been, Bissell and Lawson's have all been like financial sponsors and supporters before there was any benefit to them. Before there was a CITA Park to sell their products at, they were just like, this is an important thing and we need to be a part of it. So brands like Graysale have all been great partners, both financially and just like people, good people supporting. So we started there first when it came to the products that we serve at CITA Park. Then we branched out and tried to find as many Black and brown owned products that were available and of quality at the same time. And then when it comes to the festival itself, then it's really, as a beer drinker, it's always about quality first. If we're introducing beer to people who aren't, bought into beer in the same way, I want to make sure that they are sampling and trying their first beers are good quality beers that are well made, and they're setting a standard for like, all right, this is what this stuff's supposed to taste like, because it's not all made equal. It's not all great. So we try to find a balance of, supporting the ones that have supported us, reaching out to brands that we just know are great brands and great quality and great liquid, and then supporting them back, in the same way, giving them a platform to showcase their brands to a new demographic. From any brand building and marketing aspect, reaching beyond your current demographic is huge. So we always wanted the festival and the park to be something that gives as much as it takes.
Yeah, definitely.
What makes a good beer to you?
Depends on the beer, but quality and process are, some of the biggest things: quality of ingredients and execution of the process. Balance is huge. Even a big IPA needs to have a great hop profile that's balanced out with some malt sweetness and laid. You've got different varieties of beers that lean higher in either hop bitterness or dryness or floral aroma. New England IPAs are big and floral and low on bitterness. Lagers are bright and crisp. There's not much to hide behind with a lager. There's no hop profile or adjunct grains that'll hide all that. So crisp and clean and easy to drink are all. You need to have a good process to create that product. And so quality of liquid is one of the biggest things, I think, for me. ingredients, most people are getting their ingredients from similar sources. So I don't think there's like a huge, most craft breweries we're all pooling from the same ingredient pool for the most part.
Right.
But it's about, taking the time to make a quality beer and recognize all flavors and then execute correcting that. One of the things that I love about New England brewing the most is that they're very not just tooting our own horns. It's one of the breweries that got me excited about craft beer again after I left Stony Creek, and I got excited about it because there is not a bad beer in the building, and if there's something that doesn't step up to par, we don't sell it, we don't pour it. If a beer didn't ferment out correctly and the yeast died earlier than it should have, we don't throw something else in there and put it in a tank and still put it out as a different beer. We just dump it and do it again. The standard for quality is like the backbone of New England brewing, and I take so much pride in that because there's not a beer that I have that we brew that I don't like. There's some that I like more than others, but every single beer is great.
Yes.
Speaking of New England Brewing Company, I could be under a rock about this. I know there's been some talk and rumors going along, but I know the location's in Woodbridge. To your knowledge, what do you know about the West Haven move?
The West Haven move, unfortunately, is dead.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've been hearing back and forth about that. I just wanted to make sure it's confirmed. I know you are from there, so
yeah. Unfortunately, it was something. You can blame that one on Jimmy Seafood. Unfortunately, that was. I've never. It's never been. It's crazy. We spent so much time. We're like, is this real life? Like this one establishment is fighting us so hard. An entire legislation and government structure in West Haven wants us there. You've got an entire community that wants us there. There's so many pros to us being there, both from our perspective and the city's perspective. It was like the perfect fit. It was everybody won in that scenario, and then you have one guy that we all watched hold the city hostage. It was pretty incredible. It was crazy. From the beginning of it, I'm like, this can't be the thing. This guy's eventually going to give in.
Right.
He benefits from this too. Like
a lot of people are going to. Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, we just couldn't make that happen. We put 3 lawsuits on the project. We can't break ground with lawsuits on the project, and it just delayed it so much that we just didn't. It didn't make sense to do anymore. We even scaled down the project from the initial game plan that we were going to put our full production facility there, and it was going to be great. And we put 2 lawsuits on that project, and we actually in an effort to compromise, and we actually scaled down the project to just be a tap room, which truly didn't solve our problems because we need to make more beer as opposed to like having a new facility that sells more beer. All that does is actually kind of create some more problems. So unfortunately, even with scaling the project back, that one still got a lawsuit on the project. So we eventually decided like this is not going to work, or it's going to be so delayed that it's not going to be financially feasible. We do have a timeline. Like our building is I don't know if you've been there, but it's in Woodbridge. It's and it's in a very, very old building.
Yeah, I've been there.
It is falling apart. It's one of those places we need to move, not just because our customers deserve a better experience and we want to give them that, and not just because we want to give more product to people who are drinking our beer. We want to be able to make more, but we also physically need a new building that can withstand the next 20 years of this brand, and it's not going to happen in Woodbridge. But silver lining, things happen for a reason, and that sounds cliche too. But realistically, we are working on another project that is really promising and could be even better than West Haven. So
I'm excited for that on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. I am not crying. I am not crying. I am not crying. That's actually the answer I wanted to hear, because I have a lot of friends in West Haven, and they were excited for it because the West Haven beach is just sand. Like, that's it. There's no really it used to have life. We're millennials, I believe. Probably 15 years ago, it used to be exciting after July 4th. Now it's just there. So like a lot of people were excited for this. So I'm happy. So you gave me the answer I wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
did.
We are.
But
Hopefully something we
Yeah.
can something that'll be public sooner than later. But
Right.
yeah, it would be if this works out, it would be the most exciting opportunity yet.
It's good to hear.
That's,
Go ahead, Easy.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, that's awesome because I actually we record in West Haven and I speak with my producer all the time and he's constantly asking questions about the project and he says some things about the person that threw the temper tantrum. I'm just gonna be real.
No, is that why your head was down?
Oh yeah. No, you know Vic, bro. Vic says some things, man.
Yeah, he does. Okay.
He says some things I definitely can't say on air right now.
I got you.
So it is nice to hear that there is another solution to a very particular problem, especially when grown humans throw toddler-like temper tantrums for no apparent reason because hey, look at me, hey, look at me, hey, look at me. And that's all I'm gonna say about it because I could say so much more.
I understand. Keep it professional. I admire that about you.
Whew.
It's okay, man. Breathe. I know you're about to say something.
No. Yeah, I was about to say some things.
Definitely.
I just had to stop myself. I took some spinach. I'm okay now.
Definitely stop, reflect. Go ahead.
Stop and reflect. I had to go to my own mountaintop, not in Puerto Rico, to come back. But as you continue to move forward and to grow now you're dealing with two brands really that are in a point of growth and a point of established growth. How are you managing to do that and again take care of the mental health, the physical health, the home health, all of that stuff?
Yeah, this little retreat was a big part of that. The burning the candle at both ends is just not sustainable. And knew it from the jump going in. It's just like, any entrepreneur, I'll tell you, when you're building a new business, it just, there's a grind that comes with the development of it that is just, there's no other way to do it. You just have to grind it out and get it done. And our team's been doing that, and I've been doing that. And then this was just like a little recharge to keep doing that. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a plan, that I won't be stretched so thin. Our team won't be. We want to develop. We want to put people in place that can handle more, distribute more of the responsibility, establish ourselves to make less responsibility in the ways that were initially there. Starting this thing from the ground up with no firm context of like how it's going to work, of how everything's going to be. You have this game plan, and then you're like, all right, well, people really show up when there's an event planned versus at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday when there's not a lot of people there to like make that part of it profitable. How do we solve for that? How do we pivot for that? How do we make sure that we are, not being a nuisance to the residents around there, but also making sure that we are giving a great customer experience? How do we, we're a beer garden with an entire bar built out of a shipping container. How do we provide quality service and give people great cocktails and great options with such a small space? And then how do we store enough things to be able to do that so we don't run out of inventory on a Saturday night? There's all these like logistical things that go into it that are like, you have a plan for and you have a forecast for, and then it's when you're in it in real time that you have to pivot and maneuver and come up with new options and new solutions and be willing to like throw away an old idea to develop a new one, and then go back to that old idea and rebuild that because now it fits better than it did initially. So the balance for me is like recognizing when I'm really at the end, and listening to my body, listening to my brain and my people. I definitely like can see that, I'm a bit like I become less patient, more short-tempered. I'm not thinking as clearly. I'm not as open-minded. I'm not as creative, and a big part of that is all the things that go with that, right? It's diet, it's sleeping 7-8 hours for sure, taking the time to escape in the morning or at the end of the day to just breathe and mentally prepare for what's coming next, what hasn't come or what you're not ready for. taking the time at night to decompress before going to bed, so you're not carrying all these things with you into your REM, and then come out in the morning. So there's just a routine that I've had for a long time. And then when this project started, it was like, this needs to get done, that needs to get done, this needs to get done, got to do this back at work, got to come home and do this. And it's easy to fall off of that routine. So this little escape was about like a reset to get back to the routine, because that's the only way that this is sustainable, you know?
That's awesome. Now, I obviously we've spoken about the change in the Air Festival. We've spoken about the beer garden itself. You have other events that go on there as well. In fact, you have another one coming up shortly.
Events at the park?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're open Thursday through Sunday, and almost every single weekend there is at least 2 activations going on. So yesterday we had a series of live performances from local R&B and rap artists. Today we have an event called Pretty Girls Love Amapiano, and these 2 African brothers who just throw a great day party that is focused on Amapiano, which is a genre of African dance and Afrobeat. So it's just a great like day party dancing with high energy and high positivity, and young to middle-aged people just having a good time and being positive. So those are the 2 events this weekend. We've got stuff coming up. We do a cigar and bourbon event called the Leaf Lounge, where we team up with our friends from Broadleaf Cigars and Cuban Cigar Society. We do an event. Last month we did it with Uncle Nearest Bourbon. I don't know if you guys know the story behind Uncle Nearest, but it's a pretty incredible story. So we decided that our first one was going to be with the cigars. We have live jazz playing, and then we also have a tasting of Uncle. Last month it was a tasting through 4 Uncle Nearest bourbons, whiskeys. So your ticket price gets you, there's a general admission ticket, there's a ticket price that comes with the cigar, there's a ticket price that comes with the tasting and the cigar, and the admission. You can choose any of those and just come in. We have the bar open, that day. So that's one of the events. On top of, we do a thing every month called the playlist. We do an event every month called the sample pack. The playlist is another event that the Breed does, and it's also a dope event. But we call it the sample pack, which is we collaborate with these friends of ours called the Craft Crew. These are young Black brothers who are dedicated to widen the demographic of who's drinking craft beer and what people are drinking. So they're kind of like craft beer influencers, if you will. So we team up with them once a month, where they come and do like a mini podcast kind of review. They set up on the stage, they sample through products and review them and talk to people. We sample them out. And then we also have a DJ, Shavarda, who is at the same time making a live sample with music, and then plays.
Who is amazing, by the way.
That's
who is
cool,
amazing. I have seen Shavarda play State House several times, and each time takes your breath away. So
yeah, she's a beast. She's a beast and a true partner. She's been one of our resident DJs from the jump. So we feel honored to have her a part of our camp. But yeah, so we do a variety of events, man, from events that people throw. We did for Black Wall Street. We teamed up with the Breed and Black Wall Street. We did a fashion show at the park, which was one of the dopest things we've done. We literally we built this when we originally built the stage. We built it in 4x4 sections that all fit together. Right. Because the idea was like, if we needed to make a smaller stage, or we needed to extend the stage or expand the stage, we could do that pretty easily. So this was the first time it actually came in handy in that way, where we took 4 of the panels out of it and rearranged them so there was a runway down the middle of the park from the stage itself. So we built a runway and did a fashion show at the park, which was dope. And then we had the Black Wall Street after party there, which was just a live DJ and Slay Washington. We've done brunch, R&B and brunch events at the park. We've done family day, like we called it an ice cream social, where we had food ice cream truck and a couple of ice cream vendors, bubbles and face painting and stuff for the kids and games. And one of my favorite things about the park in general is like every day you go in there and there's people in there. There's people playing games all over the park, like it's from giant Uno to giant Connect Four to giant Jenga to dominoes. We had a foosball table there now that people go crazy over. Yeah, someone donated a foosball table. So it's just like, it's one of those things too, where like you can come, but you hang out and like just engage with friends and play games and have a good time. And it's cool to see because the concept of like, yeah, we'll throw out games felt like that'll be a part of the thing. But something like a Leaf Lounge where you've got 10 people around a table smoking cigars, drinking bourbon, and playing Uno.
That's home. That's home. That's home. And unfortunately, how we're doing this is, they're pulling the whole Apollo curtain on us right now anyway, and saying it's time to go home. But we want to give this time to you right now. So tell people how they can get involved with you, how they can get in touch with you, give you all your socials, and how can they invest in you and moving forward. Please, this time is yours. Thank you again so much for coming on. Definitely. I love talking with you. I wish these shows were like 4 hours long when you're on, but unfortunately we only have but certain time. So the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank you for having me back. Thank you for letting me tell the story and promote this thing. Please get your tickets to CITA Fest. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to CITAFest.com. Follow us on social media at CITA Park at Gmail. You can email us at CITAPark@gmail. We're on IG at CITA Park and Facebook at CITA Park. Change in the Air Festival also has an IG, so you can go directly there, but we promote on both platforms. You can follow me directly at Nepco Jammy on socials. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much. Please reach out, buy tickets, come to our events, download the app. We have a CITA Park app. That's crazy. Forgot to mention that. We got an app. Download the app, stay up to date on what's going on. Our official last day is October 31st, so come check us out before the season's over. And then stay tuned for next year. It's going to be even better.
Nice.
Thank you, Jamal. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate y'all.
Preston, Easy Blues, WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Appreciate everyone listening. Thank you so much.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.